better you are at evaluating and knowing that you're in autopilot and being able to get yourself out of it or avoid it altogether, and having strategies how to do that when your contemporaries don't, is just another tool in your toolbox to help you be better than that. Let me end by going through this idea of trying to avoid going into autopilot in the first place. Because even you beginner players, you will eventually get to this intermediate level where you find yourself going through this autopilot process and trying to dig your way out or avoid it in the first place. My experience with autopilot is when I would find myself in that human nature taking over and sort of just going through the motions myself. For me, I wanted to avoid that at all costs. One of my biggest goals consistently out here was be more intense than everyone else so that I could consistently just outwork everybody. For me, I felt like I needed to do that because I didn't have the talent that everybody else did. If I wanted to keep up with them, compete with them, and hopefully be better than them, my only real shot of doing that was to outwork them. And the only way I could outwork them was by being more intense than them. And the only way I could consistently do that was to make sure that I avoided being on autopilot as much as I possibly could. That's one of the reasons I am so attracted to the psychological end of basketball, because it's that psychology that would allow me to keep up that intensity. Those mind games I would play with myself to do whatever I needed to do to avoid going into autopilot. I wanted to keep my intensity as high as I could, as often as I could, including being super laser focused as often as I could. For me, that meant sort of living basketball, making basketball a lifestyle, which was fine and fun, and I'm glad that I let basketball be like my entire being for that period in my life. But I'm cautioning you guys, if you do that, and I hope you do, just to experience it at least at some point in your basketball career, the caution is there is a cost, a price to pay that comes with doing that, with having that high intensity all the time, having that laser focus all the time. There is a price to be paid, and that price comes in the form of fatigue. It comes in wear and tear. Ideally, you're super intense all the time. Ideally, you're super laser focused all the time. But that's not realistic without there being some fallout from that, at least eventually. When I was doing that, when I was attempting to be super intense and super focused all the time, I didn't factor in the fact that, going as hard as I can all the time, I probably can't forever maintain that. I was young, and I felt like endurance was one of my few talents and one of my few strengths. Therefore, maintaining super high intensity and super high focus at all times, every time, there was not ever that was a positive thing. I didn't realize there was going to be negative effects of doing so. But if there were for me, and that kind of longevity for endurance is one of the few talents I actually had, if burnout can happen to me, it can happen to you as well.